I got out of breath. Can y'all hear me okay? Please let me know. I think this is working now. I figured it out. I figured because someone had said, "What happened to the dance party?" in my last live. I'm like, "Ooh, you right. You right. I did not do the intro dance party." So we had to do that. Let me know that the volume is okay. Yes. Listen, I could always depend on Tracy to let me know that the audio is good. Amazing. All right. So if you haven't seen the thumbnail, well, if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Alicia. Welcome to Kinky Sweat Live. This is not an edited video, rather a live stream where I take an opportunity to connect to y'all in real time and to also share some content if I want to get it out right away but don't have time to edit it. And the topic being is comparing Mel Cosmetics Mary Jane to the infamous Natasha Denona Glam palette. Now, I think many have made up their minds already. I briefly saw Teresa's is Dead's thumbnail. She didn't look too pleased with this palette. So, and I kind of had a feeling about it when I quickly demoed it in my recent Sephora haul video. I quickly tried on the shadows and I was like, I don't know, man. Thanks, Jenny. These are the mascots, which I want the clip-on sunglass lenses, by the way. I need those. These are the Milton. The size is 46, I believe. Yes, 46 in the tortoiseshell. And I actually have the Milton sunglasses too. I think this is by far my most favorite shape. My other frames, I need to replace the lenses because well, first, when these upgraded, my eyes were having a hard time adjusting. Now that I've adjusted to these prescriptions, to this prescription, I can't wear my other frames because my head is like, what is happening? Oh, Chelsea, so funny that you brought that up. I've already started using the Sonia G. I've already started using it. Incredible. This stuff. Oh, oh my gosh, so much. Sonia G is a smart cookie when it comes to design, man. I bought all her bags, so this this is another one here that I want to try out. Also, we got this one. Hey, hey, hey. So I think I want to do a video. If not an edited video, I'll do a live for sure. I'm sure, Lucinda. Teresa looked pissed. She looked pissed. Ah, thank you, Melissa. Oh, the glasses. The people like the glasses. So I wanted to quickly get into it. I didn't want to. Well, I know I probably will spend an hour on this live because that's what happens with multi-look videos and comparisons. I also my allergies have been hit or miss. Sometimes they behave, and sometimes they just want to come out to play. And right now, my eyes are very sensitive. So when I'm, what's the word? When I change looks and have to take off the makeup, it could get a little, but thank you so much. Go to bed. Go to bed. Unless you have to be up. But if you don't go to bed, get some rest, friend. Okay. Hey, Taya. Uh-huh. That's what I figured. Yeah. But you know what I went to Sephora yesterday and I picked up, because a lot of you were mentioning this palette, 420. 420. As well as the Dior Backstage. The official name, Perfecting Translucent Kaja. Natural Radiant Blur Effect All Day Matte Finish. That's a mouthful. In 3N. So those were the 2 additional items that I had purchased from the sale. I think that's it though. I pretty much am putting the brakes on that. Ashley, I'm so happy you noticed. These are from Eastleigh. The dogs. The dog is holding the bone. Can you even? I can't. So good. And the neon cat heads. The neon orange cat heads. I love. Wedding book. Is that what's happening over there? Well, good morning. That's a great question. I'll get into that at length, I think, when I do that dedicated video. But quickly, the Use Beauty Pro bags are just more larger compartments, whereas Sonia G bags have more organization slides in them. So if you're into like brush holding, slots, zipper, side pocket this, side pocket that, then that's what the Sonia G bag is going to give you. Whereas the Muse Beauty Pro, dare I say, more designed for professional use, because maybe with the exception of the brush book that's not translucent, the other compartments have a translucent top, so you can be better able to see what you're using without actually having to open the bag. Whereas, as you saw, Sonia G bags are not clear. Okay. So this is what Natasha's Glam looks like. I immediately thought this palette once I saw Mary Jane. Oh, it's right. It's sitting right in between my legs. How dare you? Excuse me. You're so fresh. Okay. Mary Jane. This is Mary Jane. Let me get Natasha Denona up next to it. Oh, I don't want to blind you with the mirror, so I'm going to be very careful with this. Oh, gosh. This is what we're looking at. You see very quickly, you see the similarities. Why did I still insist on buying Mary Jane? The curiosity got the best of me. What can I say? I wanted to compare them for myself. I just wanted to see what was up. That was it. It was a irresponsible splurge on my part, and I take full responsibility for my actions. So I figured, because actually I have the Melt Cosmetics site up, I wanted to pull up some of the shade descriptions that I don't need my glasses. I think I'll be okay. So let's get into the swatches, because I didn't actually swatch this palette in its entirety during during my Sephora haul video. That is the first shade, Mary Jane. Sheer Bud Crystal Shade. Sheer indeed, as you see, is translucent in nature, as I would suspect will act more as a scatter effect. Okay? Not actually giving you the color payoff that you might have from the other shades. Gasper. This blew me away when I first swatched it. Jasper matte eyeshadow. It's so funny. They give like little essays. It's basically an olive. It's an olive. All right. I love me olives. That's a color Melt Cosmetics does very well. You know what I mean? And with that said, why don't we move into Sweet Lucy? This has a little more chunk to it. You see the texture there? Very pretty. Metallic eyeshadow with a deep charcoal base and pyrite hued pearl. I would say that's pretty accurate in its description. Bamba. Same texture as Sweet Lucy. Definitely a little more smoky, as you see. Oh boy, it's getting all over the place. Graphite metallic eyeshadow with a true neutral tone. Ooh, wet your brush for a chrome effect. Oh gosh, I'm gonna put you over here. Much better. Cause where I put my phone was not very helpful, fam. Get it together, Alicia. My gosh. All right, next up, I didn't know how to say this. Sinsemila. Sinsemila. The next matte, like a very dark brown, a smooth deep brown matte with a cool undertone. Okay, Santa Maria. Kind of reminded me of Bamba. And Santa Maria, a black diamond shadow, opaque and dynamic, can be applied with a finger or a brush for a dense gunmetal look. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Rubia. Matte number 3. This is more of like a neutral tone. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Neutral crease shade of the palette. Ash blonde matte. All right. Got it. Bow. This is like the more bronzy metallic shade. Ooh. This I thought was the better performing. Elegant smoky quartz. That is very pretty. Last matte. Mari. Ooh. Did I swatch the right one? This doesn't seem to have the same type of fallout as the other mattes. Hold it together, it says. How did you know my swatch was so bad? This natural hemp paper hued eyeshadow is here to blend away any harsh lines. So that is the blender shade of the palette. And the last one here, Cali, which takes on a similar texture like Mary Jane. Sheer crushed diamond tone shadow to the center of the lid for an energetic luster. All right, so these are the swatches for Mary Jane. If we were to quickly go over to Natasha, I would say, well, you know what I actually want to do, fam? Take a look. These are the swatches, okay, for Mary Jane. In case you're watching this on the replay and you want to take a screenshot. I will wipe this off as I want to now do side-by-side swatches with Natasha Denona. Hey, Pauline. Okay. Now, I kind of already knew that this will be a hit or miss palette, as that has been the case with Melt Cosmetic eyeshadow palettes. The Stacks, I think, have a better track record. Although I never bought She's in Parties, I'm kicking myself for it because I think that was one, besides the other that I'm going to show, one of the favorites amongst the Melt eyeshadow palette portfolio is Rust. I think besides She's in Parties, which again I don't have, Rust is one of the better performing Melt Cosmetic palettes, hands down. This was the one people were like, oh, they got it right once. So this is it right here. I actually brought this out because I thought some of these shades looked very similar to the ones that exist in 420, which we'll get into later on in this live. But let me see here. I'm going to make sure I do this right. Okay, so if we go back into Natasha, immediately this is more metal toned. There's no olives in here. This is dominated by metal, charcoal, silver. You see there's like some pink hues in here, right? From this shade and this shade. You see the gunmetal shades here. You see there's a prominent gold, a more prominent bronze. So although they're very similar in feel, I do think that they're different palettes. Okay. Immediately, I suspect, just from swatching the Melt palette, is that Natasha Denona Glam is better performing. This is just based off my experience, my anecdotal evidence from using Natasha Denona and Melt in a parallel fashion. You know what I mean? I do think that Natasha Denona mattes are easier to blend. But who am I? I think it all depends on the person. Some people do not want to change their technique. They don't want to change the tool they use. So, because you don't want to budge, if you encounter a product that might require you to adjust a little bit, you're not going to like it, which I understand. Anytime I approach a male cosmetic palette, I know I'm going to need to adjust a little bit. That's just what my experience has been. And because of that, I don't mind changing a few tools and my technique a little bit. Hey Monica, what's up? So happy to have you here. And Monica is the beautiful beauty enthusiast who I showed on my last live where Monica's doing the looks with no mascara, and I love it. You do it so well, Monica. Okay, here we go. Hey, Jordine. But I found that because Natasha's metallics are so smooth, you don't really need the matte as much. Okay, let's do this one first. Smoke. It's just a smoother matte. Excuse me, the car. Excuse me. Don't you know we're on a live? I think the closest looking one is Rubia. Yeah. There's like a little more grit to a melt matte than there is to Natasha Denona. Okay. We're going to ignore the names because the names are very triggering to a lot of people upon this palette's release. This is the I'm going to call it uh the the beige shade. The crease. Not everyone's crease. That's more of like a cooler type of a moment. And then lash line is the deepest matte. Okay? Whereas here the deepest matte is Sinsemilla. So funny, you see that his swatch is more pigmented on the arm, but when you get it on the eyes, it's a totally different experience. Totally different experience. I wanted to quickly swatch Mari, which I thought reminded me of the beige shade, but that has a little more punch to it and it's not quite as cool tone as the mushroom shade. And I wanted to get into one of the metallics because I think this is really where we're going to see the difference here. For instance, if we were to take this shade, this metallic from Glam, immediately right off the bat, you could just see how smooth it is. And it's not as heavy duty in texture as a melt metallic. If I were to go into Bamba, which not completely the same shade, I understand that, but within the category, totally not. So that has more body to it, but because of that, you probably will experience a little more fallout, which is cool. Not to say that fallout is the end all be all. So this is this shade here. I'm gonna swatch next to the melt one. Yeah. A lot softer, don't you think, fam? This is the silvery one from Natasha. Okay. And then we have the outer lid. This is the bronze metallic shade. Okay. That I want to compare to Beau. So let me get that shade on the arm first. And then Beau from Mary Jane. The only kind of bronze in the palette. So that's the difference here. So you see, there's a lot more texture going on in the melt metallics, for sure. Some people are like not about that because of that. However, especially if you have textured lids, that's not going to be the best combination. And I think that's why people tend to gravitate toward Natasha Denona shadows. The textures are a lot more forgiving than I think what Melt has to offer. That is true. That is true. Yeah, if you have those, then you're good. Platinum Bronze is like a condensed version of the two. Okay. Why don't we get into the demo? Let's start off with Mary Jane on this eye. The Refer restock is happening next month. So I wanted to give these, I've been using these brushes like crazy. Like these are the go-tos. The go-tos, friends. All right. So here's the thing. I find it a lot easier to start off with the metallic first with the matte, with the Melt eyeshadow than it is to start with the matte. You know what I'm saying? Okay. You're like, yeah, it's easier. We know. We know. I want to do Sweet Lucy first, just on the lid. Hello, mirror? Oh. You should see how disorganized I am. Very. I would definitely say if you're using Mary Jane, it's best to use a finger. Because look, I already got a little fallout, which then don't do your face makeup first. Please. Or else you're not going to be very happy. And the warmth from your fingertip, I think it's just going to better melt these pigments onto your lid. Okay? Now, since we've already applied that metallic shade, I will then go in with the Refer 27 brush. Definitely Gaspar. Okay? And use that shade. I got some Sweet Lucy on my laptop to blend out the edges of Sweet Lucy. So this perhaps is the most fascinating matte, I think, in the palette. This olive tone is quite beautiful. But now we're running into the problem where the leftover pigment now fell onto my nose, on the side of my nose. So this is the issue. Perhaps it's better, maybe it is better to apply the matte first. Because the texture from the metallic when I'm blending out the crease is falling onto my face. Unfortunately. Yes, Leona, I do recommend using a primer for sure. I need to oh, gotta warm that brush up. Okay. Ooh, maybe Mari, the blend out shade that has quite a big bit of color payoff actually. You see that gradient? So I mean that's great, but I will be careful with how much you apply. Now, I'm going back in with a little bit of Sweet Lucy, reapplying what I did initially to get that back on the lid. Okay? Okay. La 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 la. Here it is. My little 14. gaff burr on the lower lash line. And there is quite a bit of kickback in the pan. These shadows definitely run a little powdery. Little powdery. I mean, that's pretty smoky, all right? But you could detect some of the olive. It's a beautiful color. I just think it's a little tough. Like, you're going to have some repercussions. You know what I mean? Hi, Karina. Now with the Natasha Denona. Now, knowing that I'm going to be fine with just going in with a matte first. That's what I'm doing here. I'm going in with smoke first. And I prefer this formula only because with melt, it's like you get pigment on the eye fast and it leaves you very little time to build up the color to the intensity you wish to achieve. Now you gotta deal with whatchamacallit, blending, to just blending. Thank you for suggesting the primers, fam. I still people have been Taya, for instance, you've been telling me about the Linda Hallberg primer that I still have not whatchamacallit purchased yet. Oh, what shall we do on the actual eye? I'm gonna take my finger again to, oh, you know what? Let me take this color. Don't mean to flip you off. This is so much easier to apply than Mary Jane. I don't gotta worry about no fallout with these metallics from Natasha. Not at all. Not even a speck. Not even a freaking speck. Okay. Let's do this color, but I will go in with I'm gonna go in with a shader brush. The number 28 with this silver-ish right here. Oh. So I was like, wait, am I on the right eye? I had a moment. So sorry. Isn't it crazy how this just looks so much softer? Listen, if you're deeper in skin tone, then for sure the Mary Jane palette is going to give you a little more depth. But then you're just going to have to deal with the repercussions of falling out the metallics, and definitely, you know, that I don't know how else to explain it, but because you'll definitely get more depth from this shade with Natasha, but with Melt, well, this is pretty deep. This is pretty deep, and then these two metallics are really deep. So these are, here we go. Like that's one of them, right? Which has a lot more body than this one. So it's a lot softer. If you wanted that, what we can do is actually go, I forgot which color I used. Let me do lash line. My apologies for the sniffles. I'll tap it on the outer part of the lid so we could build a little more smoke there. Now there is some kickback in Natasha's pans too for the mattes, but not as powdery. All right. I'm going back in I'm trying not to blow on my palette. It's a very bad habit. So I'll use a tissue instead. Okay. There we go. Be good, Alicia. Be good. Don't do the bad habits, okay? Back in with the blend shade. Just kind of putting a little haze on that. Yes, I agree. And it just could be I could blame my own makeup application, but I just feel like I got to concentrate a little more with the melt. See, melt, like, you really have to commit. And I think, like, for instance, Laura, one of the owners of Melt, her eye looks are super grunge. That is the aesthetic for Melt. And I think if you don't do that, then it looks heavy. So you have to fully commit to like that grunge where, for instance, I probably should pull this down a little more on purpose and give myself almost like that bruised effect. Audra! I, I can hear you say that to me in live time on a Marco Polo. I don't know, man. Hey, Bo, this is pretty tough. Yeah, I agree, Aisha, that the if you want a little more eleganza from the melt, that you got to tread carefully. Because I've been loving the looks Dana and Laura do, absolutely, using their products. But it's definitely an aesthetic. Which, speaking of, let me actually finish the Glam Eye, right? Let's finish the Glam Eye. And then we could do another round using more of like the bronzy shades. Yeah, Allie, exactly. The raccoon look. The raccoon look is like a melt thing. It is. I've seen the photographs. They drop their eyeshadow way low, and that's just not for everyone. Like, not everyone's gonna be down with that technique. Does Sweet Lucy look beautiful? Absolutely. Not taking anything away from that. However, a little more tricky to use. I just wanted to see if I could possibly control the intensity of the matte, because that's what I did first in my Sephora video. I applied the matte first and then the metallic. You know what? That's what I'm leaning towards too, Tracy. And listen, I'm completely well, I guess so. I am biased in that I generally do like Natasha Denona eyeshadows more than Melt. I do. However, I do like Melt palettes. I just don't think they are as sophisticated, and I don't want that to sound condescending, okay? I'm just saying sophistication in terms of the formula and in terms of the curation of shades. That's it. Listen, not all brands do not have to be the same, but from my experience, right, Danny, and that's why I felt it wasn't going to be ideal for those who do have textured lids. Oh, Lucinda, let me get it. Hold on. Is that from the. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, no. I got it. I got it. Clarice, that is a great point. That's a great, you get, yeah, for the price and also for the construction of the palette. It's funny. Ooh, hold on, so sorry. The palette sizes is not the most practical. I mean, for instance, the Hindash size. You're messing up already, Alicia. The Hindash, it got wet. Hindash fits so nicely into my Sonia G. So much noise. The melt. It's not gonna fit. But how about this one? Barely. It still's too long. But the Natasha fits a lot better. The melt size is just not practical. I don't know why they gotta make their palettes so long. Shorten them just a little bit. A little bit. Or don't do the long pans. Can you... Anyway, whatever. I'm going on a tangent. Okay. Divine Dahlia. Dare I say... Let me do it here. This is Divine Dahlia, which isn't that so crazy how much smoother Pat is in comparison to the male ones? Now that's coming from a very biased standpoint, but you gotta agree with me on that one, fam. Okay. Sweet Lucy from Mary Jane. Look at the difference in texture. Look at it. There's nothing more to be said. There's nothing more to be said. And, you know, the blue. This is a great palette. For the holiday. The holiday was good. So, you know, I'm gonna do another eye. It's not fair. I have to give Mel the chance it deserves. Oh, but Lucinda, you know, I think it's great that we still did it because clearly, you know, this is such a beautiful color. Isn't that just... All right, in order to not exacerbate... Oh my, so much noise. In order to not exacerbate my... The Melt Cosmetics is all over my mic, my laptop. I'm just gonna press. I'm sorry I did not apply any mascara. Hi, Amanda. I didn't want to take too much time. You know what I'm saying? I hope you forgive me, fam. Please forgive me. How's everyone been doing? I'm sorry I haven't been on here. I wanted a quick explanation during our cleanup intermission. I usually spend the weekends over at base, and I try to get as much done during the week so I could, you know, concentrate on just kind of chilling out for the weekend over at base house. I could very much bring everything over there, but it's quite a lot to bring my laptop, my camera, this microphone, all the attachments You know what I mean? So that's why I haven't been on here as consistently as I like. Although I might have to just, like, for instance, I'm going back there after this. So I'll come, I'll come on here and then go back to Harlem. Thanks, CC. These are from the Cirque Colors California Dreaming Collection, which they were so nice to send me. You're so correct. Oh, and guess who has their channel now? I'm going to put Heavy on the Chai's channel down below in the description box so we can visit. Oh, sorry, I had to. I had to share. Blame Vicky J. Blame Vicky J. And this is basically what I was saying. Like, you definitely get more depth from Melt, for sure. You know what? I feel like Melt, you are welcome, friend. When I get off here, I'll put everything down below. I have to update a lot of stuff, but you got it. I feel Melt excels in these types of colors. Like the rusties and all this stuff. Like, this is where they excel. The rust palette, as you saw. If I were to quickly swatch one of the metallics from Rust, far smoother. Far smoother. Ravage, like, this is a totally different formula altogether. Like, I think they wanted, I just watched that one, Alicia. Get with it. I think they wanted to go really, like, over the top with Mary Jane. Even that has a little bit of texture, but is a lot more workable than the textures found in Mary Jane. Okay? These tones are beautiful. And I think Melt does this really well. All right? If we were to go back to 420, ooh, this is so hard. Well, I gotta say, this is some cool. It's hard to see on camera, but it's a shifty type of a palette. Let me do. Hold on, I'm gonna do this arm. So that's really pretty. You could pack that on. That's more of like a moss. But look, blunt. Okay, Melt. Look at that. Look at the tone of that shade. It is so pretty. I love it. When we're in this type of territory with Melt, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Full Melt. Melt, melt, melt. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then Wax, which is this dandelion yellow. Also gorgeous. I believe Tina from the Fancy Face has a video presenting like several different looks from this palette, so I would take a look at her video just to get some inspo, because she's beautiful with her eyeshadow looks. See, those colors get me more excited than the ones that exist in Mary Jane in general, but I do feel that Melt does that a lot better. The terracottas and like those burnt types of a things. Okay. But let me tell you, yes, Taya, thank you so much for bringing that up. Their cream blushes hit real hard. Slap. Slap. Okay? Those are great. For sure. But the shadows, Natalie, I couldn't have said it better. Exactly. Those bodily excrement shades. Alicia, shut up. Shut up. Going in with Mama Pat's concealer in LM12. I'm working on a Pat McGrath haul video. I would like to have that up. I don't know if it's going to be up by tomorrow, but I'm going to try. This brush is way too small for this task. Yes, Ria, the cream blushes do set down, I would say, to a natural finish. Hi, Roberta! And guess who got the Hermès blush? It is so fragrant. I am in trouble. Oh my gosh. So freaking fragrant. I gotta say, too, that is true. The Dia de los Muertos palette is amazing. I have to give it to that palette, too. That was one of their better color stories. Look what it is. Look. So, I'm in trouble. My allergies are like, ma'am, don't you realize that you don't like fragrance? I'm like, I know that. So why did you buy it? I just wanted it, okay? Self, just... Anyway, we're gonna talk about that on another day. Let me prime these lids. Prime these lids. So I know we're mad, or I don't know, we're still mad at Hourglass, but at the time of their dismal pressed powder trio thing that was repurposed shades, and they marketed to be something entirely new and oversaturated the photos. I bought a new primer from them, so I really don't show it because I don't want people to get mad at me. Thank you so much for understanding. Come again. Okay. Now. And now. I want to go into 420 just to quickly show. I feel like this is better than Mary Jane. Olenka, it smells like flowers. Too many flowers. You know what's crazy though? I was in Central Park under the jasmine trees. I took a good old whiff and I was fine. When it comes to artificial fragrances like this, it drives me nuts. Yes, they are Sir Colors from the new California Dreaming collection. Yes. All right. Blunt. Do I want to do blunt? Yes, I do. This is also very powdery. But look how pretty that shade is. And I like to tap. I should have tapped with Mary Jane. But I don't know. I felt like the can't get the words out. The textures from Mary Jane, I thought whether you tapped or swirled were a little tougher to blend. Yes, it does. It sure freaking does, Evan. I could get down with 420. This is pretty. Again, it's more I gravitate towards these shades anyway. That I get. Why don't we go into the pukey green? Oh, that's pretty. It's hard to see though. Let me turn my head a little more. There's the darker green in here that I'll probably rely on to give a little bit of smoke. I think this is more of like a medium shade. Oh, we're almost at the hour. Where does the time go, for crying out loud? My gosh. All right. Full melt. Tapping on top of blunt. Giving a little bit of, well, not necessarily depth. This is like a different shade altogether. I'm going to have to rely on, what is this one? Roll It. Oh my god. Roll It is this shade here. I probably made the mistake of applying too many mattes, but it's okay. Not too bad. This is still very powdery as well. I still think these mattes are better than the ones found in Mary Jane. I have a feeling. I have a feeling. This is my Surratt brush, which I will use to pick up wax with. This very vibrant marigold, which, you know what? I have Denessa's Color Fix. But this isn't bad. You could definitely see that there's more yellow popping out from the lid. That's pretty. We like that. I'm going in with Shotgun. Same brush. I made sure to wipe. Ooh. You know, I briefly tried this last night, and I rather enjoyed the shades. I think they're very vibrant for being mattes. Definitely better to pack on. But now I want to go in, well, there's Dank, and there's, whoop, wrong way, Chronic. I think I want to do Chronic as the designated smoke shade for this green eye, for the vomit eye. Ooh. Ew. That's pretty. That's pretty. Want to invite Dank just on the inner part. It might be a little too dark to place it there. Oh god, sorry. I keep on hitting my mic, but on the inner part of the eye, just to introduce another shade that could possibly melt, all puns intended, with the ones that are already existing on the eye. All right, let's get with it. We got to finish this look. We're almost done. This was primarily to compare Glam and Mary Jane, but I think we've arrived at that conclusion very quickly. Just based on the first demo. I mean, I wanted to do another one, but I was already convinced that each palette has totally different intentions, different just feel, you know. Am I going to return Mary Jane? I could. I technically could. I don't want to because I know that's not the wisest thing to do. I'm going to keep it because I don't want to add to the waste that is makeup return inventory. So I will make it work. Will that be the first palette that I gravitate toward? Probably not. But again, I'm going to implement it in the best way possible into my eyeshadow routine. Ooh, 420 is fun. The only metallic I say in quotes is this is rather hard pressed, and it just serves as more of like a topper moment, I feel, So I could place that like on the inner corner and it will give the matte a little more dazzle. Yeah, I could, yeah, I'll probably give it away. We'll see. I'm gonna give it another shot. I like it. I don't hate it. Sorry, I'm looking for another brush. Where is it? Oh, there it is, right in front of me. He's laughing at me. I just have to kind of be a little more strategic with how I use it, that's all. Like, for instance, not do my face makeup first. That's one thing, one way I could adjust the technique a little bit. Oh, this is such a pretty color blunt. The first shade we applied on the eye. Taking faded a bit lower here. I feel like I'm having a melt moment. Like this is definitely like a melt type of an eye for sure. This is where, you know, I feel melt lives. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Just reading through. Reading through the comments. You know, I really wish I was talking about this with another fan member. If they could just, okay, we know you love the marbleized powders. Obviously, it does not work when you're looking to create deeper skin tone powders, right? Deeper for complected individuals. Just get rid of the marbleized powders. Just give us like the powder itself. Can you do that, please? Can you do a baked formula that is of a richer shade? Can you do that? Please. Just forget the marbleized thing. We get it. You know we love to we know you love to do that. However, it's not working for a lot of people, okay? Okay. Thank you so much, Hourglass. Thank you for listening. Anyway, let's leave that because I don't want to bring the mood down. But I do agree that as it, you know, the inconsistencies within the brand is alarming, and if only they could just present us with what's going on backstage. But it's fine. Let's talk about 420. Okay, I think. Hey KBD, I think that I'm not returning Mary Jane. I'm gonna make it work. If I totally hate it while making it work, I will gift it to another makeup home lover enthusiast. I don't recommend that you get this even if it's on sale unless you are willing to work with it, unless you really like these shades a lot, if you feel that they are super unique to you and your collection. You know what I mean? And I do think 420 the mattes are smoother and easier to blend, and I also think that of Rust. Exactly. Just forget just forget the marble. Okay, I needed to just revisit that comment for a moment there. Back to the melt. So yeah, if you already have Glam, you really don't need Mary Jane unless you are, again, we spoke about the color range. Glam only goes so far in depth, whereas you're going to get far more from Mary Jane. However, if you have a Viseart, any of the pro palettes that have deeper mattes, you could definitely make Glam work. Or I would go in with like Black Coffee or Extreme Black from Pat McGrath and set up your lids with a pencil first and then go in with Glam. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I wish, listen, if only they made the colors are so great in Mary Jane. I just wish the texture was smoother with those metallics, man. Like, I mean, Sweet Lucy is a beautiful color. It's just a little tricky. You know what I'm saying? It's a little tricky. But it's okay. Yeah, Mary Jane is not their best, unfortunately. And I think, many of us had already reached that conclusion, but I had said that I wanted to compare it to Glam and I wanted to fulfill that promise to you, friends. And yeah, I would say if you're willing to make it work and just experiment with it, then I would say sure. You know what I mean? Especially if Glam is not going to give you the depth that you're looking for. You're going to get some beautiful gunmetal looks from Mary Jane. Absolutely. That smoky, rich charcoal hue, it exists here. I really like Beau. Beau is like this bronze. Absolutely beautiful. You know what I mean? So I think maybe I'll still do a Mary Jane look video, a multi look video. Not so much to convince people to buy it, but if you already have it or you want to make it work, to provide a little bit of inspiration. That's it. Yes, Tracy, shadow guards are like those adhesives that you place under your eyes. I probably will just end up doing my eye makeup first if I were to use Mary Jane. So we wanted to quickly go over our standout observations between Glam and Mary Jane. Mary Jane has more grunge, it has more depth, it has more texture, and it has more fallout. If you're okay with that, fantastic. Natasha Denona Glam, better blend, just softer, more diffuse, but it lacks the depth that Mary Jane has. If you are deeper complected, I think you will have more of more depth to your look from Mary Jane than you would from Glam. If you're like my skin tone or lighter, or even my skin tone a little deeper, you could probably make Natasha Denona work. I would just say what makes it for me is the texture of Natasha's metallics. I think they're far more easier to use. They're a lot more forgiving in terms of the finish left behind. They don't grab texture like melt metallics do, and because of that, I think they are just better suited for a wider range of textures when it comes to eyelids. And that's it. That's basically it. So I'm happy I did this because I was wondering, just based on looking at the palettes like this, I'm like they look the same. Definitely the vibe is the same. More grungy from Mary Jane. And very consistent with the melt aesthetic, if I do say so myself. If you don't have any of the melt palettes at all, 420 and Rust, I think, and apparently She's in Parties, which everyone loves too, I think those are one of the best ones. I'm not suggesting Dia de los Muertos because I don't think that palette is available at the moment. That is too freaking bad because that isn't. I have a video using that palette actually. I created maybe 4 looks with it. Mm, gloss. I've been talking too much. Mmm. Mmm. Better. I don't know dupes for 420, but I'm sure they're out there. I think that's one thing Melt does very well. Like Natalie had said, the pukey types of tones, right? They really nail these tones. The undertones are unlike anything I have from other brands. And again, within this realm, this is where Melt thrives. The other shades, like the as we saw, the charcoal gray. I mean, Gemini, listen, everyone lost their minds with Gemini. Lost their minds. Actually, this reminds me of oh, I see. Definitely the shades from 420 are a lot more vibrant. This way, Alicia, this way. See that? Hold on. So you could take a look. The metallics from Gemini are absolute trash. But again, I would rely more on Gemini for the mattes than I would for the metallics. The blueprint is pretty too. Yes. Taya, it is the Gemini shade is absolute crummy crumb. Look at that. It's so weak. It doesn't even stay on the skin. It just kind of like falls off. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. But the metallics from Rust, amazing. Amazing. So as we discussed, there are inconsistencies with matte, or excuse me, with melt that delays us in purchasing them right away. You know, we're a little traumatized by it. It's okay. I decided to still buy because I wanted to find out for myself. And also, I know I am in a unique position where, because of my channel and reviewing makeup, that I'll take the hit. You know what I mean? That's totally fine. But for someone who has a specific makeup budget and is not looking to spend money on makeup like that, that's mainly why I wanted to buy it and compare it to Glam, and also to put it up against with Melt's other eyeshadow palettes. You know what I'm saying? I did not get the blueprint palette. I skipped out on that one. I did. I do have smoke sessions. I do have smoke sessions. I think these metallics were a little bit better. Mm. Oh my god, I don't have any room. I don't like to do this on my arm because of the hair, but those are a little better. They're not like superbly better, but I'll take it. I'll take it. I did not try the glitter pot, Stephanie, because I haven't really used my other. I have bare. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized. So sorry. What was that face? That the Beetlejuice pots have a color that could go really well with this one, actually. Oh my gosh. Where is it though? Oh no. Here it is. Right here. This is actually for lining purposes, but I don't care. I don't care. If you really want this to pop, there it is. That's gonna be neon green. So the reason why I didn't buy the glitter pots is because I rarely use these. So I called myself out. I'm like, you better not buy any glitter pots unless you start using the Beetlejuice pots. But that doesn't mean I might still consider buying them. just I'm putting a hold on it. I'm putting a hold on it. Like this color is amazing. Beautiful. So we shall see. We shall see. With that said, the timestamps will be on later on today. After I come off from here, I'm going to pack up, go back to Bay's house, and have to listen to the live so I could grab the timestamp so that you don't have to listen to me chat for a whole hour and 12 minutes. If you don't want to, I get it. I will make sure I'm specific for those portions of the video, whether it's the demo or just the comparisons or a specific palette. And yeah, we did it, fam. We did it. So with that said, thank you all so much for coming, for spending a little bit of time with me. I apologize for how inconsistent I have been in coming on live, but I think this might work. Maybe if not every Saturday, every other Saturday. I think this is a good time. I love earlier lives because I'm so bad in the evenings in terms of energy. Like when the sun goes down, my energy also goes down, and I that my circadian rhythm just will not let me put it up there when it's 7 p.m. You know what I mean? So thank you all for your input. It is invaluable, especially when we do these types of comparison videos. And I'll update the description box promptly. And again, it's always so much fun to hang out with you all. You are so kind to carve out a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me. And until then, maybe I will see you soon. You never know. But first, we gotta dance it out.